Hey guys, let me move this back. So we are finally at our last video of this visual podcast thing. Crazy. But if you haven't watched my last two videos, please feel free to do so in any order. They're not chronologically linked, however, they are linked to the same trip that I recently went on this year. So if you're interested in things that I kind of say here, as well as, what the trip has done for me, then check out those last two videos. They're not going to be as long as this one, but this final video is a bit longer because it is a bit more of a brain breaker topic, and it's a tiny little ponder, just a little one, on the future of the music industry, especially with how technology has been changing as of lately. Although technically technology is always changing, but anyways. So as a whole, the relationship between technology and music is nothing new to me, in the sense of it's always been something that I'm pretty curious about. If I had to pin anything specifically that kind of ignited that, it's actually from the first few trimesters of my uni. We have a unit where we learn more about, how music has evolved in terms of its technology. So if you do a dip or a bachelor in JMC or probably any other creative music course, you kind of hear about how we went from basically live music to being able to record it on a wax cylinder, to tapes, to cassettes, to, I think tapes and cassettes are the same thing, but you get my point, all the way up to what we have now as streaming services, and specifically the advent of Napster, if you guys have heard of it. But Napster basically restructured the whole industry, going from CDs to streaming that we do today with Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, ... But in the same nature of kind of basically bottle flipping the whole structure of the music industry, my topic for today is, how do you guys think AI and AR technology is going to influence the music industry in the present day, as well as the whole creative arts industry as well. But the reason why it's kind of linked to this trip is because whilst I was on it, on one of our free days with a few other friends that I made on the trip, we went to the local art museum, probably is a better word for it, in LA, which is LACMA, Los Angeles County Museum of Art. I don't know, but future Deborah editing this here. LACMA stands for Los Angeles County Museum of Art. Whilst I was there was specifically this one exhibition that I came across, and it was called, I'll put it here, Coded: Art Enters the Computer Age. And so it featured a few artworks that spanned between 1952 to 1982. Yeah, 1952 to 1982. I've got my scripts down here. But basically that same time frame is the same time frame of the rise of computer technology, not like what we have now, but their predecessors that are in a really massive box. But the whole exhibit displayed kind of the way new technology impacted the popular conscience, as well as at that time how it basically developed the new concept of digital art that we have today. And so the main stream of conscience that these artists had collectively was that amidst these new technologies that seem to have the sky as the limit, instead of fearing that, they actually put it in their hands, grasped that power, and began using it as its own unique medium. And so there was this one artist, and I'll name a few artists along the way from a few different things, but I unfortunately can't really show any specific artworks or videos of the things that I saw because I will get in trouble by copyright laws. But his name was Manfred Core. What he did is he used coding and a lot of computer algorithms and math, and basically generated this artwork called Cubic Limit, and it was this video that was playing around, and it kind of reveals the aesthetic properties that computer coding and math can create, and it represented itself by a series of neon rotating cubes that, it just looked really pretty. But another one was this guy called Hans Huck, and his artwork was called News. Basically what it was a fax printer that was connected to current media websites and headlines. And so whenever these media outlets created a new work, it would get sent right to that fax printer. It would get printed by it. It kind of targeted the oversaturation of information that we have now at the hands of new technology, making communication a lot easier. Now note though that whilst this world at the time was kind of concerned with the moral implications of some of these technologies, as well as how it specifically, can target and challenge the removal of human processes, these artists actually utilized it in a way where it was still innately human, and it was through their vision and their execution. It essentially made the computer nerd turn into a new form of artist with a new type of medium too. I think that this line of thought amidst today's popular conscience is actually seeing a bit of a parallel with the advent of AI and AR technology, more specifically AI. And so post-America, I did actually attend a kind of technology/arts panel or conference, depends on how you see it. It's called Never Permanent, and it's kind of a sub-branch event of semi-permanent. It basically had a set list of a bunch of artistic individuals who were taking the lead in incorporating new AI and AR technology into their works today. They had the same innovative attitude that the artists had in the exhibit that I went and visited at, in the sense that they were incorporating AI and AR technology in such a way that really broadened their expressive and interpretive outcomes. Justin Ridler's piece, for example, it created a social comment on atrocities that are currently occurring in refugee camps in this present day, and also challenges the present bans that governments have put on cinematography in those refugee camps. Those specific bans have actually, in turn, created a kind of blanket over what is currently occurring. And so with that, by creating the artwork that he did, he does challenge it to make people more aware and to make people feel more of an urgency to, speak up for the people that cannot. And so he and his team basically created a website called Exhibit AI, but there was also AI technologists and photojournalists, and what they did is first they collected about 300 hours worth of refugee testimony from a lot of various individuals who were quite diverse. And then from those testimonies with his team, they created a series of photos, written entries, as well as a lot of audios actually that kind of represented the stories that were told to them. And so through that, it creates this series of visually affronting but truthfully representative artworks of what we don't see in refugee camps. Once again, would definitely recommend you check that out. It's a perfect example of how AI can actually be used as a tool to help us as a society. Of course, with the advent of new technology as well, there is an equal risk that is bound to take place. And one of the main concerns that we've seen at the present is the whole concept of deep faking, as well as how various artists kind of feel ripped off by AI generation using their artworks as a database. I do inevitably think that it's a classic case of just technology developing so fast that we actually haven't been able to grasp the morality of it at the same time. So we're kind of stuck in a hard position of not fully understanding the technology and its capabilities, and henceforth not really understanding where we should put laws and regulations. However, I do know for a fact that at the present, it's definitely being worked on. We do have quite a few countries that are actually redefining their definitions and their copyright laws so that, we have a more concise definition of intellectual copyright and what is your intellectual property, so that you can be, remunerated properly, or remunerated. I never really know how to say that. You're not getting ripped off anywhere, basically. In saying that as well, there's also an opportunity, to maybe even do a Uno reverse, create AI that actually targets AI generated artwork. Not the software engineer, so would not be able to figure that out, but who knows? We'll see in a few years' time, basically. But the main points that I'm getting at here is that although there are some risks that we have faced, I'd argue that new developing AI and AR technology actually has so much to offer. And in saying that, I think it would be incredibly foolish for us to just box it away and never really explore its potential and see what benefits it can bring from us. When I was writing the script, I did talk to a few people, a few friends, family, teachers as well at my uni, to see what their kind of perceptions are on the new technologies that are arising today. And for the most part, it was mainly a benefits-derived conscience, where people were thinking about how, for example, AI can create so much convenience for us as artists, as musicians in the case of the people that I were talking to, as well as how AR can definitely create a new avenue for expression as creatives. And so with AI, it's cutting so many corners without experiencing that much losses for it. And I know there are a few sound engineers out there, when they think of AI, they kind of dream of having their own AI that comps their tracks for them, EQs out muddy frequencies automatically, organizes tracks and buses so that they only have to really focus on like staying on the creative side of their brain rather than, constantly organizing the track that they're dealing with. And I personally think that it would be absolutely crazy if I could just get an AI plugin, put it into Logic, and just say, hey, I want my vocals to sound like this particular song. How do I do that? And it gives me the direction for it, or it actually automatically applies it for me, and all I have to really do is like tiny tweaks here and there so that I can get it to perfectly match my voice. But I don't need to actually figure out what plugins and effects I should be using to achieve that particular sound. And even having our own personal Jarvis, for example, like makes life so much easier, especially when it comes to the more admin side of, being an artist or being part of a band. Imagine, an AI that exists solely to organize a band schedule or set up gigs or set up rehearsal times and reminders for multiple members. But all you have to say is, hey AI, could you please schedule a band rehearsal? Can you please schedule this reminder for the team? Can you create this event? And we'll all be available at this time, this time, this time. This, that. And it's kind of like a group calendar, but we're not the one individually clicking every single button. And we're saving a lot of time that way. Then in the aspect of AR technology, we've seen the first huge step already kind of being created, and it's the Sphere. I think that's the name of it, in Las Vegas. It's a literal dome of LED screens, basically, in a concert venue. And it'll have speakers and stuff backed up to it too. But if you think about it, with that particular venue, you can basically alter the sight of thousands of people instantaneously and their sense of environment. And, environment has a huge role to play when it comes to your music choice, particularly when it comes to the emotional environment you're in. For example, if you're really happy but you're at a park and it's really calm and chill, sunny day, you're more inclined to play, like nice indie acoustics, that kind of thing. That kind of thing shows a really clear connection between the environment you're in and the music that you choose to listen to. It's because music as a whole has a massive gift of speaking to the heart and really resonating with you in your circumstances. And I, as a creative, think that the whole idea, of having a song, then, as you created it, you had a specific meaning and it's pulled from specific personal experiences. And then having the opportunity to actually have your audience experience it the same way you did, through AR technology, I think that would just really boost up the expressive outcome and actually in some ways create an interpretive sense that's so clear and succinct. And I think it's just really cool as a creative, if that ever comes to life. It's kind of challenging reality to be part of your artwork, basically. And even in some ways, if you think about it, reality also is made up of little melodies and rhythms. It's just a matter of kind of being able to harness them and use them in an experiential capacity. And so this particular thing I feel quite strongly about because I actually coincidentally experienced something similar. One time I was listening to the song recommended by a mate of mine, and it's called Long Season by the Fishermans. It's basically a 35-minute instrumental song with like Japanese city pop chords over more of a psychedelic rock style. As I was listening to this tune, I was crossing a bridge on my way to work, and it was a super windy day. Then at some point, whilst I was listening to it, the wind was actually kind of syncing up with the song, and its syncopation matching the rhythm. And it was actually so crazy how it like fit together, and it actually followed through with the dynamic build that was happening in the song at the time, and then dropped along with the dynamic build as well, which was so crazy. And then it literally gave me goosebumps is the best way to put it. But it brought a new aspect of feeling the music, basically, since I was also sensing it on my skin, and I was basically having the world as an accompaniment to the melody and to the track and to the song. It was incorporated in such a visceral manner where it's absorbed through more senses than just hearing it, through your temperature, through your sense of touch as well, with the wind being cold and with it being, pushing against my skin. As a whole, if I had to, do my little summary talk, it's the fact that AI and AR are really only on its baby steps. It's only just really beginning to show its potential, and there's so much more brighter venues for it to expand on, and I'm super excited to see where it leads to. And I do hope that for you viewers as well, through this, you're viewing it with a positive outlook, particularly the creative ones, and thinking about how you might be able to incorporate it into your own craft as well, or even just being a little less cautious of it and seeing it as more of an opportunity. But thanks guys for watching. Really abrupt summary end here, but thanks for keeping up with me this whole time, watching all of my videos as well. I do know that this one is a really long one, so I am actually kind of curious to see who was paying attention and watching this the entire time. If you did actually watch it to the end, chuck a comment down below, thumbs up, whatever it is, and this is just purely out of curiosity for me, but I will send you a heart. I also want to chuck a massive thank you to the sound engineers that actually helped me out with this. Thank you to James for mixing my voice and the whole overall thing as well as Bryce for mixing the background music that you guys are listening to. If you like the sounds basically coming out of these vlogs, I will link their stuff down below and you can contact them if you're ever in need of a sound engineer. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for the patience as well with how long it took for me to, get this up, my sporadic uploads and everything with this series. But as always, like, comment, subscribe, and bye!